Roger, Alpha, Alpha, Mike, we have an incoming. Oh, it's you. What do you say we go somewhere where we can get some good binaural sounds? Maybe even a little bit of nice fire while we take a break from all this and talk about your depression. Give me a second, let me just get changed. Alrighty. Before we get to talking, we're going to talk about something very useful today, by the way. We're going to move into chapter 3 of the DBT workbook. I wanted to go back into more CBT, but I'm finding that I personally need more DBT. And it's not all about you. I'm kidding. But I'm finding that since I personally need a little more DBT, why not, do that together? So, let's check in first. How are you? Yeah. I mean, for real, and you can totally answer down below if you want, or just, me. Well, I have a headache, but I really wanted to get a video out for you. Yeah. Check this out. I've got like all these scratches today. I'm trying to grow my own food sustainably, and I have been raising tilapia for the past year and a half, and it was just kind of it's been a good learning experience. That's the positive way to spin it. I think I feel better. I always felt like you can't eat meat or fish if you're not willing to face the consequences of what that means yourself. So I can still eat meat or fish, right? Because if you're not willing to deal with the fact that this is death, and how you humanely, do that, then maybe you don't really have the right to eat meat, because, you're kind of, it's like, anyway, I don't want to push that on you. I do have the right to eat meat, but, because I don't know, I think there's some value in saying thank you to the animal, and, having it be humanely treated and everything else like that. And I felt like my water quality conditions were not working and were no longer with what I would want to live in if I were a fish. So, I ate the fish instead. And it was more work maybe than someone in my condition can handle. I'm tired. I mean, it wouldn't, for someone like you, it wouldn't be that much work. Yep, it wasn't that hard. I'm just wimpy and headachy and suffering the ups and downs of this depressive journey, as we all are, right? I'm not alone in that. So, how are things with your family? And with work? Let's take all those things. It might help you to write them down even. Just write down. Just put them aside. I'm serious. I'm get out a piece of paper. This one has been gently loved by Bingo. This is from the stream. I was drawing a picture on it. We do live streams every Thursday, right? That's on twitch.tv/PeterPan, twitch.tv/Papa Echo Tango Romeo 3, Papa Alpha November, twitch.tv/PeterPan. And I was drawing to explain how this trick cup works, which is kind of neat. Isn't it beautiful? Yeah, so just take a moment to be here with me. And that's what we're going to talk about today. And I'm an actual physician, and I'm also an actual depression sufferer. I have both treated and been treated for a number of mental disorders, including a personality disorder, MDD, major depressive disorder, and actually most recently PTSD as well. So life can be, everyone has their own journey. You have your journey. I have my journey. They're not the same journey. No one has the same journey. So no one can pretend to completely know and understand anyone else's pain. But in a small way we can. And we've had some of the similar neurotransmitter impacts and stuff. And I apologize, I don't have makeup on again today. I'm really not feeling well, so I just kind of wanted to put out something high impact that helps you out today. And that isn't too distracting. And, ooh, what's this? Would you like, brush your face off a little bit? That's pistachio in the other. And a knife. Very, very useful for cutting things. And a little bit of eye makeup. Just get the top of your eye right there. Top of your eye over there. Alright. Let's pull up some of this mindfulness stuff, okay? Mindfulness, also known as meditation, is a valuable skill that's been taught for thousands of years in many different belief systems as well, not just secularly, including Christianity, as cited in Merton 1960. Judaism is cited in Pinson 2004. Buddhism is cited in Rahula 1974, and Islam Inayat Khan 2000. So I'm citing these studies and things I'm reading directly from chapter 3 of the DBT Mindfulness Workbook, which will be below. You should download these descriptions and things that I have for you so that you can, actually work on getting better. You gotta put in the work if you want to get better. Yeah. You can't just expect someone else, therapist or whoever else, to magically fix it for you. That's not how it works. So, beginning in the 1980s, John Kabat-Zinn began incorporating it in hospital patients to cope with chronic pain problems. Not one of my favorite psychologists or philosophers ever, but it's worth citing, 4 or 5 different studies with his name on it about this, and more recently, similar mindfulness techniques were also integrated into other forms of psychotherapy. Segal, Williams, and Teasdale, 2002, including dialectical behavioral therapy, Linehan, 1993. A study in Teasdale et al. 2000 found mindfulness skills were effective at reducing the odds of having another depressive episode. Reducing symptoms of anxiety. That was a study done in 1992 with Kabat-Zinn et al. As the authors. Another study about reducing chronic pain, Kabat-Zinn et al. 1985 and 1987. Decreasing binge eating, Christeller and Haller, 1999. Increasing tolerance of distressing situations, relaxation, blah, 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 blah. Bunch of different studies you could look into. So what is mindfulness? It's the ability to be aware of your thoughts, emotions, physical sensations, and actions in the right now. And yeah, I'm looking over at the, I hope it's not too distracting. We are very chill, just you and me, and I am looking over at the book to which I am reading from. Of which I am reading to you. In the present moment, without judging or criticizing the experience yourself. It's kind of like separating and stepping back, and it allows you to think more clearly if you kind of just step back. Because we have our emotions, we have a sense of morality and right and wrong, and those are good and important things to have. So it's not like saying, yes, I feel like murdering my family, and that is just okay. No. It's, but there's a way to step back without judging the very strong feelings you're having, whether they are, that extreme kind of feeling that you need to go and talk to someone about, putting you somewhere so that you can be safe, so like a hospital or something like that, so you know there's you're safe. So whether it's that extreme, or whether it's just the feeling that, oh, I think the people around me don't like me. Which is a thought, of course, we've talked about CBT and realistic thoughts, and if you don't remember, then you need to go back. Okay, you need to go back to the CBT workbook episodes that I 20 videos long. It's long. You can actually buy all the MP3s of the depression playlist. I think at my Gumroad, which is gumroad.com/peterpan, PETREPAN. Papa Echo Tango Romeo Echo, Papa Alpha November. All the patrons, of course, get it for depending on their level. They get MP3s pretty much every month for free. So that's patreon.com/becomehero. If you want, you don't have to. This stuff is free, okay? If you have an internet connection, but I just say that because sometimes people don't have an internet connection, and sometimes when you don't have an internet connection, you still want to listen to things that encourage you, little lessons that you can use. You also never know if something's going to happen and I'm going to have to take the videos down because of YouTube. I've been demonetized for talking about self-harm before. So, just giving you some good old depression ASMR right here. Depression ASMR. About depression and mental illness, mental health. But YouTube doesn't always appreciate those kind of things because it considers them controversial. So you never know when something's going to be taken down. I also have an Odyssey for that, just as a background protection thing. So you can go to Odyssey, ODYSEE. Odyssey. That's Oscar Delta Echo. I'm making an E. Do I not know how to make an E? Oh, and she calls herself a writer. It's not Echo Next, because it's a Y. I don't know what I'm doing. Oscar Delta Yankee Sierra Echo ODYSEE. Isn't that better? Odyssey. So you can go there. All my videos are backed up there as well, and that's free, of course. So everything, I want everything to be free for you. I also, if you have, another one of my goals is to provide so much value for you that you're able to, like any time that you do join anytime you do join Patreon or like buy an MP3 or something like that, you do help support not just me, which I appreciate very much because those of you who know me know that things have gone pretty poorly for me health-wise, and so I can't work in a full-time clinic anymore. But also the ambulatory clinic that we're working to establish in Paraguay. You also help with that and with the support that I give monthly to Isabel's orphanage. We're putting a couple kids through college in Liberia, which is pretty exciting, and also helps to support anti-human trafficking efforts as well. So a lot of good stuff that, and supports continually making more of these. So you're welcome to check that out. I'm sorry to interrupt. We're talking about, I don't want it to adsy, but just so to explain to you where you can access those things if they're helpful to you. If YouTube disappears, you can go to Odyssey. If you want to get stuff offline, my Gumroad is available for that. If you want to get special downloads every month that everyone else doesn't get, Patreon is for that. There's a lot of ways for you to get content and take care of yourself. But, of course, nothing I can say here is really can be for medical advice for diagnosis or treatment of any illness, because even though I'm a real doctor, you and I, most likely, do not have we haven't done an evaluation together, you and me, or a real doctor-patient evaluation, so we have to be careful, right? Because your circumstances might be slightly different, right? This is general medical education for you to help you take care of yourself. And I'm certainly not saying go off your meds and practice mindfulness instead or anything like that. You gotta go to your therapist and get individualized care. But this is some information to educate you and help you with self-care, especially if you can't afford a therapist, which if you can't, go to your local health department. They may be able to get you one for free. Yeah. if you don't qualify for your local health department, well, I can get you 10% off at, maybe you've heard this before, but at betterhelp.com, betterhelp.com/drjen. Get you 10% off therapy. Of course, that's an affiliate link. I don't care where you get your care as long as it's good and works for you, right? You can affiliate with me and get help through my link to get a discount. You can go ahead and get help. There's a couple of like free places that are always linked below. The crisis text line will get you some resources, your local health department. You just have to take care of you, okay? And that's kind of what matters. And so that's what this self-care is available for. And why? Why do we take care of you? And this is a point I always drive home really hard, because I'm not like these kind of like woo-woo unscientific, oh, I am the most important thing and I have to come first and blah blah blah. Like, I'm not an eat, pray, love type woman, okay? I am a woman who knows that there are people who are starving out there, people who have nothing, people who, I take care of sexual assault patients a lot. I've seen dead babies and things like that. So like, I know the real world isn't like, oh, I'm eat, pray, love, I gotta take care of myself first. No, you gotta take care of other people, but you can't take care of other people if yourself is broken. So you gotta help fix this tool, this brain and self. You have to help fix it, help it feel better, so that it can be more effective in helping other people. So you can't take care of other people if this isn't running well. And sometimes taking care of other people can help this to run well, right? Going out there, for example, in the case of like logotherapy, it can give you a purpose to be helping someone else that can strengthen you. And we've talked about that in a lot of the other videos. That, like the end of the panic video, we talked about that as well. Like, if you are helping other people, you get this sense of purpose and strength that actually helps keep you alive, right? There's something very evolutionary and biological about that. So helping other people actually benefits you as well. But so you want to put, we're all connected, whether or not we want to admit it, we're all connected, okay? Even when you blow, that air pushes other air, that pushes other air, that affects me. So when you hurt, technically we all hurt. And when someone else hurts, technically you hurt. And when you ignore it, the Tanakh puts it as, you are cursed if you hide yourself from your own flesh. And it's specifically talking about ignoring the poor, but it calls the poor your own flesh. Like when you turn away from your own flesh, it's like if you walk by someone who's homeless and you kind of like hide your face and try not to, which it's that kind of like you're hiding yourself from your own flesh instead of, and we can't fix every problem, right? You gotta put your fingers where they can be most useful, right? But rather than thinking there's nothing I can do, ask yourself the question, what is the smallest first thing I can do, right? Maybe you put bags, what we do is we keep bags of like non-perishable foods and underwear and socks and other stuff like that in the car so that we can give it to people when we see. And that's no work, right? Little care packages. That's very easy. Water bottles, things like that. Right? And I'm not saying you gotta do what we do. I'm not saying like, oh, we are so holy. But like, that's a tiny thing. It's not a big thing. It's not enough. It's not gonna solve the problem of homelessness, okay? But it's the first tiny step that we can take. And then maybe the next step is you go and volunteer in a food kitchen. That's what I used to do. 2020, I did that every week at the beginning, first months of COVID, right? My health got to where that's not really viable anymore, but it was good. It was good for me. It was good, and you can still, you can do little by little. What you can do, and then sometimes stretch yourself, and you'd be surprised at what instead of saying I can't do this, think, what is the best thing for me? What can I do, right? So this is what I can do. I can try to share my knowledge with you and the medical training I have, so that you can go off and do things for other people. So even though I have maybe just a couple hours every day that I'm actually functional, I can still be useful. I can still be self-purpose. I can still help other people. Okay. With what I have. And you may have the opposite. You may not have very much knowledge, you may be a teenager or something, but you may have the ability to use your body and your hands. Or you may have an internet connection, and you might be able to use your voice to help with the vocal ID voice bank. There are people who've had surgeries, they've had tracheostomies, and they don't have, they can't speak. They can't speak. They can touch their voice box. Okay. Like throat cancer, other things like that. And so, they were like Stephen Hawking, right? So they want a voice. And how do you get them a voice? Well, you record. They pick out their own unique voice from all these different recorded voices that have been donated. And so you can actually donate your voice to that project, which I think is pretty cool. Right? That's the Vocal ID Voice Bank. You just Google that. You can even volunteer for the crisis text line, honestly, and text people who are miserable. It's a couple of hours training. Obviously, it's free. You can do that from your home. So there's all kinds of ways that you can kind of pour into other people. Because we're all connected, the more you pour into someone else, you will feel better also yourself. At the same time, if you take care of yourself in the right way, not in an avoidant way, those of us with PTSD, or sometimes people are just lazy, we will sometimes want to take care of ourselves in a way that, like, oh, this is self-care, I'm going to eat ice cream and watch Netflix. Is that really self-care, or are you like avoiding the real world? Not that ice cream or Netflix cannot be incorporated into a healthy coping strategy, but you gotta be honest with yourself and ask yourself, is this coping strategy helping me to get better and helping me to pour out into the world? Or am I hiding? What am I really doing? And if the answer is, I'm not really accomplishing what I would like to accomplish, then maybe decrease some of that. Think about what you want to accomplish, what you want to do in the world. Think about the world you would like to see. What world would you like to see? Is it important to you that there is less poverty in the world? Then what's one step you can take towards that? Is it important to you that there's less human rights violations, maybe towards very, very young, with ageism, or maybe towards things with racism or other things like that? What changes do you want to see in the world? Then maybe it's not just all about talking about it online and on social media. What can you actually do? What can you make that makes things better? A Twitter post doesn't count as something that you made, okay? What can you make? What can you make, right? Is there something you can learn or teach? What can you do? Boop. Boop, 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 boop. What can you make? What can you make or do? And then put yourself into that and see, are my coping strategies stopping me from doing those things that matter to me? Do I need to change them? Or are they doing the right thing? Money can often be an issue. Over on the Superhero channel, we did put up a video about how to fund your dreams, different strategies. Put up 2 videos actually, one with Nathan Segala, a creator in Uganda with very little, and he managed to put himself through college when he had nothing and very little chance of going to college. And he had periods where he got really low down emotionally. I know, because we've been working together with various artistic partnerships for several years now. And, the question was, when he had nothing, what was he gonna do? And we had to find ways for him to get work and stuff like that. And he put up with all kinds of crap, but now he's like working for Pepsi, doing design work. So, there's, it took a long time though, but there are ways to fund using the internet and other kinds of things like that, unique ways to fund your dreams. And you can go check that out over on the Becoming a Real Life Superhero channel. That's youtube.com/c/Becoming a Real Life Superhero. All one word, Becoming a Real Life Superhero.
But ways to think about, and it's one of the first couple episodes, how do you make what you want happen? How do you fund these dreams, right? Think about, learn stuff like that for yourself. Part of why you're unhappy is you were made for something more, and you feel limited. You feel like this isn't right. This isn't the right world. This isn't the world you belong in. And sometimes that can get so severe that you want to die, because this isn't the world you belong in. Don't die. It's not you that's wrong. It's the world that's wrong. Don't leave the world. Make this world into the world that you want it to be. Make it better. Those of us who are sad have a power. There is a passage in the Brit Hadashah which says, "Blessed are those who mourn, for they will be comforted." But blessed are those who mourn because you mourn because you see that there's something wrong in the world. You know that there's something wrong. That this isn't the world in which you were supposed to be. That is a power. Don't let the world take away that power from you. Use it. Use that power. Use that power. And turn your mourning into comfort. You have a power. Okay. Obviously that was something spoken by Yeshua HaMashiach, which was meant to be spiritual, but I think that we draw too many lines between the spiritual and the profane sometimes. People would disagree with me, I'm sure. But if it's true, it's true, regardless of who said it, where it was written, anything else like that. If it's real, it's real. And I believe it's real. I believe that those of us who mourn are blessed. There is a secret that we have. Okay. But we can't let it kill us. We have to use it as a power, not let it burn us up, right? Just like fire. Of course, there's the old Greek legend of Prometheus stealing fire from the gods. I actually wrote a book called Prometheus Studies, where I took the Prometheus myth and made it what if it's a metaphor for, because it's interesting. It's this being who helps man by bringing them fire, and in return is spread out on this rock and tormented, and it's kind of almost like a crucifixion type thing. And so I took that as a metaphor for the Mashiach, and not just kind of just personal interesting metaphysical stuff, as it's an interesting metaphor. Maybe it was looking forward to Mashiach, who would bring us fire spiritually. And I think that a lot of myths have a little bit of something in them that, just like a lot of fiction, has a little bit of truth that actually is talking about a reality. Actually talking about a real legend or historical thing. And maybe it's not quite the right thing. So this brush is really, really soft. It's really, really soft. So I'm sorry to be meandering and putting my skin dirt on you. Here, have some skin dirt on your eyebrows. Would you like some skin dirt? But we're being chill and talking, and I think the point is the idea of receiving fire, right? When we receive fire from the gods, does it burn us or do we control it, right? There's uncontrolled forest fire, and then there's the fire of the campfire that keeps you warm, and you snuggle with marshmallows and you hang out with me and you feel lovely, right? There actually is a video where we roast marshmallows. It's one of the older Torah videos, actually, if that's something you'd like to check out. I think it's the one that's "Do Not Lose Heart," is what I think is in the thumbnail. Okay, it's in the Torah playlist, which is in the main channel page, if you go to the main channel page. But yeah, so sadness, there's a power about it. Can we use our superpower instead of letting it harm us? So one way to kind of establish that moment and come back to the moment is this mindfulness stuff, which is in the chapter below, and I hope you'll use it. And that's not always easy, right? You can be thinking, feeling, sensing all kinds of different things. And time never stands still. Every second of your life is different. But so you want to try to learn to be aware in this moment so you can step back and make good decisions. That's kind of the idea. So you should read about it. Read about it down there. So this is a kind of mindless exercise. So I want you to take the pages below, and it's going to be the page that says page 65 underneath it. Do you have your paper? Or if you're paperless like me, be on the computer. Follow along with me. So we're figuring out about the moments when you get lost, when you're not mindful and your brain is all the other places. We zone out all these different times. So let's pay attention to that. Do you ever, while driving or traveling, you don't remember the experience or which roads you took? Check that box. Or while having a conversation, you suddenly realize you don't know what the other person is talking about. Check that box. Or while having a conversation, you're already thinking about what you're going to say next before the other person has even stopped speaking. Check that box. Or how about while reading, you suddenly realize that you've been thinking about something else and have no idea what you just read. Check that box. Some of this also goes with being distracted, and if you have trouble with distraction and concentration, there could be other things going on. You should go to your doctor and make sure that you know your vitamins are up to date, that you're sleeping right, that you're not, that you don't have ADHD or severe depression can impair your concentration. So there's a lot of different things that can happen, and that can cause these things. So it doesn't mean that you just have to have a stronger mind and concentrate better. No. We're just going through this exercise to see moments, to give you an example of the difference between the moments when you're mindful and you're in the moment and moments when you're not. Okay, we're not particular saying why. Or how about when walking to a room, you suddenly forgot what you came to get? Check. I check all these boxes. Or putting something down and you can't remember where you just put it. That's me. Check. How about while taking a shower? You're already planning what you have to do later, and then you forget if you've already washed your hair or not. It's been a long time since I've done that. I'm very in the shower when I'm in the shower. Or when you're having sex, you're thinking about other things or other people. That's a big one. I haven't had that happen, but
or when you're having sex, you're thinking about other things or other people.
For people with overwhelming emotions, being unmindful can actually have a devastating effect on our lives. They're going to tell us a story about a guy named
For people
Lee.
with overwhelming emotions,
Lee thought
being
that
unmindful can
everyone
actually have a
ever
devastating
dated
effect on our
One
lives.
day, a new employee
They're going to tell us
Lee
a story
found
about a guy.
attractive approached him in the cafeteria.
Lee
and
thought
wanted to
that
sit down.
everyone
The woman tried to be friendly and make conversation, but he was more engaged in the conversation in his own head than he was in the one with the woman. She's probably stuck up just like the rest of them, he thought.
He was more engaged
Pause
in the
right there.
conversation in his own
What is he
head
doing?
than
What
was in the one with the woman.
CBT thinking error is
She's
he
probably
making?
stuck up just like the rest of them.
This is where it's good we can incorporate
Pause
things
right
from
there.
CBT and
What is he
DBT.
doing? What CBT thinking
That's right, he's
error
doing
is he
mind
making?
reading. He doesn't know she's stuck up.
This is
He
where it's
doesn't
good
know
we
what
can
she
incorporate
thinks.
things from CBT
That's
and
mind reading. So not only is he not being in the
That's
moment
right,
in
he's doing mind
DBT,
reading.
he's
doesn't
got
know she's stuck
automatic
up. He
negative
doesn't know what
thoughts
she
from
thinks.
CBT that are completely
That's
off.
mind reading. So not only is he not
Why
being
would
in the
someone
moment
like her
in
be
DBT,
interested in me
he's
anyway?
got
Why would she
automatic
want to sit with
negative
me?
thoughts
It's
from
probably just a
CBT that
joke
are
someone
completely
else put her
off.
up to. All these things he didn't know. He didn't know any
Why
better.
would someone like her be interested
From the
in me?
moment the woman sat down and tried to talk with him, Lee just became angrier and more suspicious. The woman did her best to make small talk. She asked Lee how he liked working at the company, how long he'd been there. And she even asked him about the weather, but he never noticed. He was so wrapped up in his own conversation, paying attention to his own critical thoughts, that he never even noticed the woman was trying to be friendly. After 5 minutes of unsuccessfully trying, the woman finally stopped talking to Lee. Then a few minutes later, she moved to a different table. And when she did, Lee congratulated himself. I knew it, he thought. I knew she wasn't really interested in me. But at the expense of being right, Lee's unmindfulness and self-criticism had cost him another opportunity to meet a potential friend. Also, like, why does he care whether or not she's interested in him? Why isn't it about, like, you know, making this connection with a human being? Goodness graciously, you suck. But we all do that, right? We all do that. We mind read, or we look into the future. Like, oh, even if we were to become friends, this person will end up betraying me. You don't know that. That's one of the ones I have. I can't deal with people anymore because I'm so afraid. But I don't know the future. I have to admit, I don't know the future. So for this first homework, for this first part of mindfulness, which is DBT chapter 3, I'd like you to read these pages and think about what is mindfulness skills, what is not being mindful and not being in the moment, and how they impact you. And next time we'll kind of go a little bit more practical. Right? Because you want to focus on one thing at a time in the present moment so you can better control and soothe your emotions. Also, you want to identify and separate judgmental thoughts from your experiences, because sometimes these thoughts fuel your overwhelming emotions, and sometimes, like with CBT, they're not actually based on reality. So you want to be able to step back and realize, oh, this is a thought that's coming through, and recognize it, and see it as not part of yourself. You know, you receive the thought, so the thought pops into your head, you know, everybody hates me. And you look at that and you acknowledge, oh, I had that thought that everyone hates me. And then you kind of let it pass and let it move on. You don't play with it a lot. You're like, okay, I have that thought. I have that feeling of being unhappy. And you let it go. It comes and you let it go. When you see that, it's a little hard to explain, but when you can see it as a thing, as a separate thing, there's exercises in here about like looking at it like a box or bowl or color. When you see it as a separate thing, you're able to more rationally evaluate it and be like, oh, whether or not this is real, and let it go. And that helps. Which leads to the third thing. It can help you develop a skill called wise mind, which is the ability to make healthy decisions about your life based on your rational thoughts and your emotions without, you know, being by your sadness. For example, you've often probably noticed it's impossible to make good decisions when your emotions are intense or out of control. And it's often difficult to make sense when your thoughts are intense or out of control, right? So when you can balance those and think about them and look at them from a separate, like, step back, and this isn't saying that you are an irrational person, and it's not even saying that your thoughts are wrong. You might be on a strange planet where it's true that everybody hates you. That's unlikely, but it's happened, right? It's happened, like, if you are, I don't know, if you're black and you're in a town where a lot of people don't know you and are don't understand black people, okay, it might be real that you know, that feeling of like nobody really likes me, or it might not. You don't know if you've not read everybody's mind, right? But it's not to say your experiences aren't real and valid, right? You may actually, it may be true. So I'm not saying that you're irrational for the thoughts you have. However, you need to be able to step back and evaluate whether they're 100% true, whether they're just a little bit true, whether they're only true of some things, some people, right? Like in that particular case, maybe some people are a little more, maybe some people are just more ignorant than like hateful, and they just need a chance to get to know you and understand you, and then you'll understand their behaviors better as well. Maybe there's someone there who's actually your ally and just shy, just an introvert and waiting to become your best friend. Or maybe there are a lot of, you know, disgusting, annoying racists around you. And what are you going to do about that? How are you going to prove them wrong? How are you going to, like, not let them take you down, right? So that what I'm saying is, like, and that's an extreme example. In most cases, it's not true that everybody doesn't like you, right? Maybe people find you uncomfortable, and maybe also it's something someone has said to you in your head. So I used to, when I was delivering babies, I was a little bit awkward of a person, and there was a attending physician who said one thing, and she was kind of grilling me about something, and I answered her, well, I don't think that's exactly, I'm gonna have to look that up, ma'am, because I wasn't sure if what she was saying was correct, and I wanted to look it up in the studies, right? Because I think that's important. And a midwife who was standing nearby was like, this is like why nobody likes you. Actually, it's not. It was, this is why people don't like you. Right? I have felt like that ever since, right? That was something that got really into my brain, and like I really believed it. But the fact was, one of the other attending physicians like definitely liked me. A lot of them did. A lot of them said good things about me, said if I ever wanted to work with them again, I could. People said like if I ever wanted to, there were people who would have helped me transfer into OB from the family medicine program. There were people who liked me, and I know because they, you know, wrote things to try to help me out. But I always had that fear and feeling since then of like, no, nobody likes me. And it was true, a lot of people didn't like me, right? In the military, historically, my experience has been a lot of people don't like me. What do I do about that? And does it matter? And, you know, what's the next step? So what I'm saying is, there can be truth in some of the things. Mindfulness is a helpful way for you to step back from the thought and make your plans and stuff without like sitting here fighting with this thought and like dealing with, you know, and it's just repeating and cycling and controlling your life. Instead of like being in the moment and being like, okay, right now, right here, where am I? Had a lot of trouble with this earlier today while I was dealing with the fish, having all these thoughts about all these people who've said, you know, all their things that they've said about me, because it's been a lot of gossip repeating in my head and cycling around. But in this moment, I need to be paying, and this is why I got all these scratches, okay, because I wasn't paying attention. In this moment, what's happening? In this moment, what's happening is the water, the smell of the fish, the mess on the floor, the, you know, wire, like what's going on right now in this moment. I need to be here, not somewhere else, right? And then we can evaluate those thoughts at a later time when it's a moment to evaluate them. Or we just let them pass. So mindfulness is the action of stepping back, looking at what you're feeling, looking at what's happening around you, and giving your mind a chance to rest so that it can then compute. Right? You want to be able to compute what's going on. And you can't compute if you have the same input looping over and over and over again in your poor little computer here. So it's the action of stepping back. I see this, you know, and like kind of in the movies, like when Sherlock Holmes like sees everything at once. I don't know if you saw the you know, and like he can analyze like what step to take next and everything like that, because he's observing first. So mindfulness is kind of the action of your observing first, just letting everything happen, observing, like taking yourself out, stepping out of yourself and observing, you know, oh, my heart rate is up, oh, I'm remembering those things, it looks like, oh, I'm having a churny tummy feeling, oh, I see. You become a passive observer of yourself so that you can better decide, well, this thing is happening right here, and this thing is happening right here, so let me deal with this thing. Let me deal with this thing. It lets you do one thing at a time rather than you have 5 things going on, you know, all up in your brain. I hope that makes sense. I hope that's helpful. Read the introduction to this chapter, and then next week we will hit up page 68 and practice focusing on a single object together. I'll try to find a good object. Okay. Do you have any questions for me? You're welcome to put them down below if you like. I'm really glad that you came to spend some time with me. Oh, I am, if you like, probably the most important thing I've ever done in my life, and one of the only things that, like, I think the reason that I exist and the reason that I am, like, alive and the reason why I was put on this planet was this book that is coming out in October that I made. It's called Neodymium Exodus. Neodymium is like the metal, like neodymium magnets. And I think you should pre-order it. I think you should pick it up and check it out. You don't have to if you don't want to. If you like science fiction, space opera, metaphysical stuff, like kind of thinking about the properties of the way the invisible interacts with the visible in our world, then you will be super about it. Also, if you like colorful worlds, and it got a good review in Publishers Weekly. It's legit. It's legit. I am really proud of it, and it is, like I said, I think the entire reason I'm alive. And the publisher already picked me up for a second book, and I'm working on doing revisions on third book right now, so good stuff. There are birds yelling, and that's not relaxing for you, so I'm gonna let this go and let you go. And whatever, maybe you don't like science fiction, and that's fine. It does require that you be kind of a you're smart, you'll have no problem reading it. No, I was gonna say it's for smart people, but that sounds weird and elitist, and I'm not particularly smart myself, so anyway, check it out. Check out Neodymium Exodus by Jen Finelli, and you can Google it and pre-order it. It's also, listed on my website by jenfinelli.com. You'll be able to find it. That's different than my superhero novel, which was, independently published. This is like a big deal thing that was picked up by, the guy who's publishing it, the owner of the publishing company, has written for DC and Star Wars, and you've come across you've interacted in some way with properties in which he's worked with, so he's kind of a big deal. Kevin J. Anderson. It's the biggest opportunity of my life, and this is where we get back to the mindfulness stuff, or really not the mindfulness stuff, the CBT stuff. I just find myself thinking, why did they take a chance on me? I mean, it is a weird book. Nobody's gonna like it. Everyone's gonna hate me. I'm probably gonna get murdered for this book. All these thoughts, why did they take a chance on me? What if they lose money on it? All these stuff. And it's you don't know. You can't read the future. Obviously, there are people with experience. Clearly, if they took a chance on you and invested into you and your work, they believe they're going to make money from it. They want money. It's a money business, okay? So, go for it. That's my, You see, it all kind of comes back together. Please go back and listen to the video about the thoughts that are hurting you, and the other video about the 10 automatic thinking errors. Oh, listen to that. Oh, I didn't know it made such good sounds. My nails are a little longer. I'm a nail biter, but my nails are a little longer right now, so they sound kind of good. Anyway, so yeah, check that out. I'm gonna let you go now, but I hope this was helpful. To kind of just chill and listen to good sounds, and I hope I'm not too loud, and think about what is mindfulness and studies for it, and yeah, just have a chance to chat and check in. Please do think about the book if you're into that kind of thing. It's, like I said, the reason I am on this planet, so hey, have a really lovely night. Thank you for being here. If you got this far, you're amazing. Most people make it about 12% through my videos. I think either then they fall asleep or they don't like me and leave. So the fact that you liked me enough to stay this long is meaningful for me. So, and I know I'm being I don't want to be manipulative with my low emotions. I think it's very important to, like I said, step back, be mindful of your emotions. And so I don't want you to feel oh, I have to feel sorry for her because she is miserable and depressed, and you don't have to pity me. What I'm trying to say is that I appreciate you. Not oh, nobody likes me, thank you for being here. Yeah, a lot of people don't like me. It is what it is. But you are special, and you are here, and I appreciate you. And even if we ever meet in real life and I'm an asshole to you, because I am a jerk sometimes. I don't think I will be, but this moment we will always have. We will always have this moment at the end of this video where you and I shared a little bit of a connection through all these little electrical waves my voice touching the molecules of these, microphone and the piezoelectric material in there that converts the sound into electricity, and those movements are traveling and then they touch your equipment and come out and touch you. In this moment, I'm touching you and you are impacting me by being there and listening. So no matter what happens, even if you are a jerk in real life, we have at this moment some kind of special connection. I appreciate that, and I thank you for being here and staying alive so that we can have that. I have to go.